Hey everyone, it's Joey Chandler, and welcome to what I hope to be a long series of interviews with really interesting people. I'm calling these interviews the next step because my work with Funk to Flow and what I'm really passionate about is just helping people take the next step in whatever it is that's important to them. I think my work is, as I tell a lot of people, it's not about crossing the finish line of the marathon. It's about getting off the couch and, going for that walk. Because I think I know in my own life, I have lots of dreams and goals, and where I get stuck is just constantly taking that next step. So I'm doing these interview series, and it's going to be called The Next Step, and we're going to do them every morning, normally at 9:30. Today we're doing it at 10. But it's going to be in the morning, and I'm going to publish all the different the speakers coming up. And I got a whole list of people talking about all sorts of different things, and so I'm really excited about it. And so I hope you'll join me as you watch this, either on replay or watch it live. Let me know if you like it. Please share it so that we can keep going and grow this, and I get more and more interesting people. And tomorrow, actually, I'm excited to announce I'm going to be talking with this gentleman. His name is Don McCrae, and which is funny because my best man's name was Don McCrae. So every time I say that, I laugh. But Don is an expert in business legacies. And what that's about is especially if you have a family business, maybe 10 to 50 people, somewhere in that range, or you want to grow in a business that big. And at some point, you're going to have to transition. And Don is an expert at helping people prepare for that period of transitioning from yourself when you want to go into retirement and you want to pass it on to your family, but how to do that and how to prepare for that. And even if you're a small, just by yourself, but you have dreams of growing into that, Don's a great resource. And so I'm excited for that conversation tomorrow. But today I have a super, I'm just excited about this gentleman. This is a guy that I've known him now for just about a year. And from the moment you talk to him and every time you talk to him, you just know, he's got it together. He just has wisdom and knowledge and perspective on things that you just can't help but take seriously, can't help but just listen to. And his expertise is what he calls functional forgiveness. And it's about letting go of your baggage. It's about using forgiveness of yourself and of others to let go of the past so that you can move forward in the things that are important to you. Those, your relationships, your businesses, and just the things that matter the most. So I'm super excited to have on Andrew Bozeman. He is just someone I just know. He's just a great person, and he's going to be talking about how we can use forgiveness to move forward. Andrew, welcome. Thank you for being here. And
thank you, Joey.
Yeah. So Andrew, functional forgiveness is yours. This is something that you've created. Can you tell me a little bit about it? What is it? Or
right.
What you're doing?
I've been working in the field of forgiveness for 10 years now. I'm communication director for the Worldwide Forgiveness Alliance. And during the processes I've gone through and dealing with various experts on forgiveness from around the world, it came to me that while forgiveness in general deals with very heavy issues, there is a day-to-day forgiveness process that we need to go through in order to move forward on a daily basis. There's as I call them, hooks of unforgiveness. There are always hooks coming at you to grab hold of you that you're hardly even aware of because you're reacting to them automatically. Somebody cuts you off in traffic and you react to it. Somebody cuts in front of you in line, or you hear somebody say something about the clothes you're wearing and it irritates you. So there are all kinds of irritants that are coming at us every day. And what functional forgiveness does is teaches you to let go of those, because every one of them that you react to drains you of energy. It distracts you from your focus and moving forward. And the more you allow them to accumulate, the more energy depletion you're suffering from. So I want people to be able to free up their energy so they're their most powerful selves.
Awesome. So this is like really like day to day stuff, like you said, but how, so one question I have is how will I know that I have some forgiveness to do? Like, how do I,
You
how do I
know,
recognize, like, what are some traits or something where it might go like, that, hey, forgiveness might be an important thing.
well, forgiveness is an important thing because of the effect that unforgiveness has on your body. It creates all kinds of chemical reactions, which are expressed as stress, or anger, or irritation, or doubt, or distress in any way. So forgiveness is letting go of those things. How do you know that you need forgiveness? Well, uh, when you look back at your life, past life, or most recent days, when you find yourself sabotaging yourself, then you know you need forgiveness. So what happens with a lot of us is we'll be on the edge of something, and then we'll do something stupid that sabotages our move forward, and we have to recover from it. And that stupid act that we do is actually our subconscious reacting in an unforgiving way. So we have to learn how to spot those, and then learn how to let go of it so that we can move forward with a higher energy level of focus moving forward, rather than losing time and energy looking back.
Got it. So, okay. So basically, I'm thinking of, let me just hear, I'm thinking of, so many things like parenting, relationships, business, where you get in your own way, and you're saying that's where there's some forgiveness to do. There's somewhere in the past, somewhere something to either forgive yourself or for other people.
Exactly.
Got it.
Yeah. The what you just said about what happens is that you find yourself reacting to something. Sometimes you find yourself overreacting to something, and that's a sign. I have found that there are three stages to a reaction. First of all is the event. Then there's an interval in which you make a decision as to how you're going to react, and then there's the reaction. The trouble is, most people experience an event and then they jump right to the reaction. And what I do in
Mhm.
functional forgiveness is have them slow down so they can see that there's a decision to be made. And they don't have to uh, give up the same reaction every time. A lot of people are going through this problem with the new president, and they find themselves reacting very angrily to a lot of things, and they react fast. In fact, I just had a friend who was so angry she had a heart attack.
Oh no.
So yeah, it. But what that indicates is that there is stuff that is buried within you that has been building up, so that your reaction is an overreaction to the circumstances. And so that's a sign that there's something wrong, and you have to then stop, and when you have some time to reflect, go back and think about, why did I react this way, and what led me to it. And as you work your way back inch by inch, you can eventually find the source. Usually the source has something to do with you holding a grudge against yourself. So if you did something 10 years ago that caused you to miss an opportunity, you hold that against yourself. And as you move forward, if you find yourself in the same sort of situation, then what's going to happen is that's going to repeat, because your subconscious is going to say, remember when this happened and you had that reaction? Well, look out, or you're going to do it again. And then boom, you do it again. So you begin to repeat actions because it's your automatic reaction, rather than stopping and thinking and pausing and taking a deep breath and allowing yourself to analyze the situation, as opposed to simply reacting to the situation.
Got it. And so, that's one. I'm so sorry to hear your friend had a heart attack. That's I mean, horrible, obviously. Um, but you bring it up though, but there's a lot of people I know too, like, you know, with the politics on all sorts of sides, everyone is just so reactive, I think is a great way to describe it.
Yeah.
What's your sense of like what's going on there? Like, obviously everybody's story is going to be a little bit different, but if you had to, you know, generalize, what do you think it is that's causing this reaction on and honestly on both sides, this whole overreaction of things? What do you think is going on there?
Well, I think the overreaction is due to the fact that people have not been listening to each other for a long time. We've all moved into our own little belief silos, and anyone who's not in our belief silo is quote unquote an enemy. And it's
Yes.
made easier today by the media because you know you've got your television channels in cable. One is promoting one idea, and another one's promoting it from a different, totally opposite perspective. And so you're allowed to reinforce your view of the world because there's somebody there on the television who's telling you that your view of the world is okay, and there's no room for anybody else. So this has been building up for years, and now we find ourselves uh, being with the feeling of being left out. So if somebody comes along and has power on the other side, then we feel that we're being ignored, and there's a reaction to that. And so that's what's been happening is one side or another is feeling that they're being ignored and they're being left out, and there is apparently no room for compromise or conversation. So what needs to happen is looking at the other side and trying to understand their perspective. You know, the old Native American belief of walk a mile in another man's shoes, and
Mm-hmm.
you better understand them. That has not been happening here, and it has to. Usually, in any human relationship issue, uh, trying to have some empathy and understanding of how the other side, why the other side is reacting the way they are, will take you a long ways towards meeting some agreement, rather than
Yeah.
establishing post one
Yeah, I
side or
think
the other.
that's, you know, that was my big awakening after after the election, is that I had the certain sense that it's not, uh, to me, the politics that we have and the whole, you know, the whole election process is because we, like you said, we haven't been talking to each other, and that we don't even really know even how to talk to each other these days without, you know, going into our separate corners right away. And I
Yeah.
think that that's something that we all need to do better on. And it's challenging when people have views that are so, you know, diametrically opposed to each other. But to me, it's the key. It's the key of moving forward, is of understanding each other. And I think it's so important.
Right. Well, even though we're diametrically opposed, we still have the same needs and the same desires for fulfillment and survival. And if we can connect on at that basic level, that we're all human beings, we're all the same, we all have the same problems, and begin to move up from there, I think we can go a long way towards bringing peace to each
Yeah.
other and especially to ourselves.
Got it. So it's a great way. So if, let's say somebody finds themselves and they're like, yeah, you know, I have some forgiveness. I have, you know, I have some things that I need to let go of and to move forward. They recognize that. What would you say are a few things that they can do to kind of move themselves forward? I know you have an entire process, so we're not going to be able to get into all of that. But what would be a couple of steps that they could take to just kind of, you know, get themselves going down that path of forgiving themselves or the other person? Okay, everybody. Hey, this is Joey. I am so sorry for that. Had a little technical difficulties right when Andrew was going to start giving us some good stuff. So apologies for that. And to reset the stage, what I had asked Andrew Andrew, for people that recognize that they need forgiveness, recognize that they have some, you know, some challenges, some things that they need to let go. What are a few things that they can do? And I, of course, need to let go of the fact that I'm angry at my technology for not working when I need it to. But what are a few things that they can do? And I think you were starting off with talking about taking a deep breath, and I'll let you take over from there.
Okay, take a deep breath because your system is adrenalized. That is, when you go into stress, your body produces all these chemicals to prepare you for fight or flight. And what it does, one, it cuts off your digestive system, and two, it cuts off the thinking processes in your brain. It cuts off the blood to your frontal lobe, where all your rational thinking takes place. Because if you're running, you don't need to think. You need to react. So you need to begin to turn that off. Slowing your body down is achieved by breathing deeply and feeding oxygen into your system. As you begin to breathe deeply and slow down, then you begin to get some clarity as to where you are and what you're doing. The next thing you need to do is think about why you're reacting that way. What is it that triggered you? Because usually the reaction that you have is an overreaction to what's going on at this moment. That means that there's something else there. That means that you've been building up to it. So it could be a series of things in the past that have accumulated over the years that you don't even realize you're doing, but it has to do with the situation you've encountered before, and there are certain elements of the current situation that trigger those memories. And once those memories are triggered, then you jump into it with both feet and go at your reaction, which is usually an overreaction. Third, you need to be willing to let it go. Forgiveness is not forgiving or condoning the actions of another person, especially functional forgiveness. Functional forgiveness is an internal process to release yourself from the negative reactions you are experiencing and from the negative effects of the reactions you're experiencing. Meaning that if you are angry, if you are distressed, you are not thinking clearly. Thinking clear opportunity because they happen so fast. So you need to be present. You need to be present all the time. If you're not present, then things can get past you. People who are experienced in mediation and negotiation tell you that it's very critical that you be present all the time, because an opportunity can come up based on what somebody says in a matter of seconds, and if you miss it, then you've lost it. So being present, being open, being willing to let go and to move forward is to your advantage. Now, a lot of people, because of their ego, said, I can't let it go because I was unfairly treated, or I don't feel justified, or da-da-da-da-da-da, all the things that keep us down. And what you have to do is rise above that by realizing who and what you really are. You are a very powerful being. You have a body that is incredible. Science cannot duplicate it. And plus, this body is a thinking mechanism. Again, science cannot duplicate that, even though they're trying like hell. So understand that you are a very powerful being. Now, in my teachings as an ordained minister, I teach people that they are a spiritual being having a human experience. And as a spiritual being, you are here for a purpose. You're here to accomplish something. And anytime you allow yourself to be distracted, then you're veering off the path of what it is that you're here to do. So you are hurting yourself and you're hurting your mission, which can be a very critical mission, actually. But by being distracted and letting yourself get all upset about something that's really unconsequential when you look at the big picture, then you hurt yourself and you hurt the world, because the world really needs you.
Yes. I love, where'd you go? I love that, the idea that we are amazing, essentially, is what you're saying, that we are incredible.
Yes, we are.
And profound in all sorts of different ways. And mostly we forget about that. We don't wake up every day saying, I'm incredible. I'm this amazing person. I'm, whatever that is. That's
exactly. That's why I think your email your daily email that I get every morning telling me the word of the day, that I'm audacious or I'm brilliant or this. That feeds into what I need to hear, what I need to understand about myself, as well as all the other people who are receiving it. I just looked at a movie again the other day on television called The Help, in
Mm.
which it talked about the relationship of the black servants to their white employers. But one of the things that I thought was so key in that was Viola Davis, who was taking care of this little girl. Every morning, she would tell the little girl, "You are beautiful, you are intelligent, you are brilliant, and you are going to be magical someday." And she would tell that to her every single morning. And whenever the girl was in distress, she would grab her and she would tell her those things again. "You are beautiful, you are intelligent." And I was like, wow, if we could have somebody like that in our lives telling us that every single day, there's no way that we could fail, because we would have the confidence to go forward, as opposed to the dunces and we're really losers. And there's really someday somebody's going to see that we're a big imposter, even though we look successful. Uh, we know that we don't belong there.
Right. You know, and that's actually probably where our work kind of fits in together so well, is because I say we are all those things. And I think probably one of the reasons we get in the way of seeing our own greatness and seeing where we're brilliant and audacious and all these different things is that we don't forgive ourselves for
Exactly.
not being that person that we knew we could be, or doing the dumb stuff that we always do. And when we don't forgive ourselves, then we're not able, when someone does say, "Oh, you're brilliant," we say, "Yeah, right, but you don't know the schmuck I was today, or I was, earlier."
Right. Exactly.
So that's the perfect,
That's why
perfect. Yeah, exactly. So perfect segue into the word. And so the word that we talked about was diligent. And so what I always ask people is, where have you been diligent in your life? What's an example of that of you?
uh, diligence came to me, or that I became very aware of my diligence way back when I was a young copywriter producer in advertising, and I was assigned to make some tapes, audio tapes, for a big presentation, and to duplicate tapes, and I duplicated them, or at least I thought I did, but I didn't check them.
Hmm.
And I gave it to, because everybody was in a hurry to get out and go. I handed them the tape. They ran out to the presentation and the tape was blank. And I realized that I thought I pushed the record button, but apparently I had not.
Oh, wow.
And so ever since then, I have diligently forced myself to make sure that I fact checked, or I back checked, or I double checked, even though I might be under time pressure. The being late was better than being unprepared, or having a blank tape when you're making a presentation.
I,
So yes, I've always been very diligent in making sure that I kept myself covered.
I
But
love.
up until that point, I was not that diligent. But see, we don't allow ourselves to make mistakes. We
Mm.
accuse ourselves of making a mistake, and then we hold it against ourselves. But the only way you learn most of the time is through a mistake, is by falling down and then getting back up and saying, "Okay, I won't do that one again."
Right.
Oh,
Right.
so
Right. That's amazing. I love that, because most people, when I interview people, and I think of it myself, I think of the times that I am that thing, whatever that is. And I love how you are able to say, like, yeah, this is the time when I wasn't that, but from that, I learned to become that. And because
right,
I would bet that a lot of us have, we have opportunities to learn when we forget to, push the play or the record button and whatever that sort of thing is. And so that's really amazing that you have the peace of mind to learn from that. So then the second part of the question is, who do you know that is really diligent? Who is the person that just exude diligenceness to you in your community, in your family and friends?
uh, I have a I founded a nonprofit organization out in Bayview, Hunters Point, San Francisco, which, as you know, is a minority community, and it's a place where there's a lot of exploitation going on of the people. And so, being out there with that nonprofit, I became a community activist and spent lots of time working to advocate for the people. But my mentor during that period, and he still continues, is a man called by the name of Francisco da Costa, who amazes me with the intensity of his drive and his caring of the people, and making sure that every T is crossed and every I is dotted. Uh, he'll go to great lengths to make sure that we've got the empirical data to back up any stand we might want to make to in our disputes with city government or with developers. And it is his diligence and his drive to be early with his accomplishments. That is, he'll give himself a project and he wants to get it completed early, so he doesn't have to face the clock. Because there's always a space with him where you can have time to re-examine and know that you've got it all together, or that's where you find the mistakes.
Right,
so
right.
His diligence, his aggressive diligence, is something that I marvel at and respect greatly.
I love that, aggressive diligence, to give you the time to that's a great word. I'm gonna have to take that one down. And then lastly, if you were being diligent today, what would be a couple things you might be able to do and things that are important to you?
If I were being diligent today, I would one, go to the library, because there's some research that I need to do, and it's in books that are not online. And I keep putting it off because I allow other things to distract me. But yeah, if I were to be diligent, I would go to the library and get these books, because I'm writing a book, and I need to have those research sources in order to move forward with the book. So it's probably a little the procrastination is based probably on a little fear. It's like, well, will the book really be that good? And if I postpone it, I don't have to face the fear of having my performance anxiety encountered by the public. So it's just like going on stage. Am I going to be accepted?
Yep.
We're all going to be accepted.
I know that feeling, and I think that is not unique to you. So, and obviously anybody who knows you would be like, what are you worried about? But we all got our own things, and no matter how successful we are, we that little voice in our head that it won't work out voice or whatever that is always comes up.
Exactly.
So I love it. So I can't wait to hear. And I'm of course I'm like, there are books that aren't online, so. We should be very best in that. So let's see that. So that's the end of our talk. I just want to thank you so much. Is there? Do you have any workshops coming up, or how can people get in touch with you?
People can get in touch with me through my email, which is andrew@bozemandevelopment.com. Andrew Bozeman. So Andrew@Bozeman The name of my company is the Bozeman Development Group. I anticipate moving into some workshops probably in March, but right now I'm focusing on appearing before groups and introducing groups to functional forgiveness. So if there's any group around anybody who's affiliated with a group who'd be interested in having their group hear more about what functional forgiveness is and what it can do for you, then I'd really appreciate that.
Awesome. And you're located in the Bay Area, so obviously we're hopefully for Bay Area, San Francisco Bay Area groups.
Exactly. Anywhere in the Bay Area.
But of course, you probably could do an online thing like this if there were people outside of the immediate area.
That's true. Actually, I'm working on a video as well to introduce functional forgiveness to the world online in small nuggets of information. Awesome.
And are you available for like one-on-one coaching or anything like that? If people are like, yeah, I see forgiveness as something I want to work on, can they call you up?
Yes, I am. I do have some coaching clients, and there's room for a few more. Again, you can contact me by email via andrew@bozemandevelopments.com.
Okay. Awesome, man. Well,
And they can
thank you.
check out my website at bozemandevelopment.com.
Okay, great. I will post all that at the end of this. And again, folks, I want to apologize for everyone that had the technical difficulties. I'll splice these two clips together so that we have one thing on the Facebook group or on my page. And then, so Andrew, thank you. You hold on for a second. I'm going to come right back to you, but I'm going to say goodbye to everybody here real quick. So everyone, thank you so much for watching this. If you are watching this on the replay, please like this. If you like my page and you want to get more these interviews, just like the page and you'll get notified when we go online. Right now I have scheduled for pretty much all of February calls at 9:30. I'm on a whole sorts of different topics. So please like this. If you find this interesting, please share it. And as always, I go out. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful day. Take the next steps and what's important to you. And I will talk to you later. Bye.